"You're in the wrong place, ma'am. This isn't the civilian training area." A young officer glanced dismissively at the woman quietly loading ammunition at shooting station 3. She didn't respond, didn't even look up, just calmly raised her rifle to her shoulder. One shot, perfect 10x bullseye. A passing general suddenly froze mid-step. "Dear God, that's Stormy." Meet Raina Lowell, 38 years old, with graying brown hair pulled back in a simple ponytail, average build, gentle eyes, and a voice so soft you had to lean in to hear her. She appeared at Hollow Point Base's training range as a civilian technical support instructor. She wasn't wearing any uniform, just a simple button-down shirt, sunglasses, and an old baseball cap. A group of young officers snickered when they saw her standing next to the rifle rack. "Hey, is she here to adjust someone's scope? Does she even know how to shoot?" Another one chimed in, "Probably here to clean the guns and take some Instagram photos." Raina said nothing, just quietly took notes on the equipment specifications. But when the electronic targeting system malfunctioned, she was the only person who could calibrate the precision sighting system in 15 minutes flat. The other soldiers watched in confusion as she navigated through complex digital interfaces they'd never seen before. How does she know how to disable the crosswind compensation mode on that display? The whispers started spreading. Who was this quiet civilian woman who seemed to know military equipment better than active duty personnel? During the morning briefing, the range instructor barely acknowledged her presence. "We have a civilian tech today. She'll observe and help with basic maintenance." Basic maintenance. That's what they called it when Raina single-handedly fixed a targeting computer that 3 military technicians couldn't figure out. She didn't correct them, didn't demand recognition, just adjusted her cap lower and continued working. The young soldiers began to notice small things, the way she held tools, how her eyes automatically calculated wind speed by watching the flags, the muscle memory in her movements when she handled firearms. But they dismissed these observations. After all, she was just a quiet civilian contractor. Probably watched a lot of YouTube videos, one private muttered. "Or maybe her husband was military," suggested another. They had no idea they were watching a ghost, someone who had officially died twice in government records. Someone whose real name appeared on classified mission reports that would remain sealed for the next 50 years. All they saw was a middle-aged woman in civilian clothes, speaking softly and keeping to herself. They were about to learn that the most dangerous people in the world are often the quietest ones. CTA comment, Act 1. Have you ever seen a good person dismissed just because they stayed silent? Type, "I've witnessed it." During the routine qualification shooting session, a new recruit arrived late. His rifle wasn't calibrated, and there was only one empty position left, right next to Raina. The training instructor called out quickly, "Let the civilian lady try a shot. Might as well not waste the ammunition." Raina didn't object. She simply picked up the M110 sniper rifle, made a few quiet adjustments to the scope, and settled into position. Nobody paid attention to her form. Nobody noticed how naturally she controlled her breathing. Nobody saw the way she read the wind conditions by watching grass movement 300 yards downrange, until her first shot hit dead center. Perfect 10x. The entire firing line went silent, but Raina wasn't finished. She fired 4 more rounds in rapid succession. Each bullet went through the exact same hole, at 500 yards in crosswind conditions. With a rifle she'd never fired before. A high-ranking official was conducting a base inspection that day, accompanied by an elderly general. They were walking past the range when the shooting stopped. The general paused when he saw Raina turn her head. His face went completely pale. "Dear God, Stormy, that's her." The accompanying officer whispered urgently, "Stormy, the legendary recon sniper from the Red Sand operations, but she disappeared years ago." The general's hands were actually shaking. "I watched her take out a target at 1,400 meters in a sandstorm. Command said she was killed in action. Then they said she never existed." Raina quietly set the rifle down. She didn't confirm anything, didn't deny anything. She just removed her ear protection and began cleaning the weapon with movements so precise, so practiced, that every soldier watching suddenly understood they were in the presence of someone extraordinary. The young officers who had mocked her earlier were now staring in stunned silence. One of them finally found his voice. "Ma'am, what was your military occupational specialty?" Raina looked up briefly. Her voice was still soft, still gentle. I fixed things that were broken. What kind of things? Situations. The general approached slowly, as if approaching a legend he thought was dead. Sergeant Lowell, Recon Designation Romeo 77, Desert Hawk Unit. Raina's expression didn't change. That person completed her service, sir. The mission report said you were the best long-range shooter in military history. The mission report said a lot of things that aren't supposed to be discussed. The silence stretched. Everyone within earshot was holding their breath. Finally, the general asked, "Why are you here?" Raina gestured toward the young soldiers. Because they need to learn how to shoot accurately. Wars are won by people who hit their targets, not by people who make noise. She paused, then added quietly, and because someone needs to make sure the next generation doesn't make the same mistakes we did. The weight of that statement settled over everyone present. This wasn't just a civilian contractor. This was someone who had seen things, done things, survived things that most people couldn't even imagine. And now she was here, quietly, trying to pass on skills that might keep these young soldiers alive. CTA Comment Act 2. Have you ever been shocked to discover someone ordinary was actually legendary? Type I never suspected. General Weston, who had commanded the Desert Hawk Special Operations Unit, requested immediate identity verification. The classified database returned. R. Lowell, Recon Shadow, confirmed active, 2009, 2014, KIA status, revoked 2016, location unknown clearance level, above your authorization. During the emergency leadership briefing that followed, General Weston addressed a room full of senior officers. Stormmy conducted long-range reconnaissance for 7 international operations that you will never read about in any history book. She was the only person to successfully eliminate a high-value target at 1,320 meters using an M40A5 rifle in active sandstorm conditions. He paused, letting that sink in. She also saved more American lives than anyone currently serving in this room, and according to official records, she died 3 different times in 3 different classified operations. The room was dead silent. The fact that she's standing in our training facility, alive, teaching basic marksmanship to recruits, means someone very high up the chain of command has been lying for a very long time. But when they returned to the range, Raina refused to reclaim her military designation. "I'm not that person anymore," she said quietly. "I just want to fix scopes and make sure these kids don't miss their targets." A young trainee approached hesitantly. "Ma'am, could you teach us how to shoot like that?" Raina considered the question carefully. "Anyone can learn to shoot," she finally replied. "But shooting to keep other people alive, that requires learning how to be silent first." The trainee looked confused. "Silent? The loudest soldiers get everyone killed. The quiet ones bring everyone home." She gestured toward the targets downrange. "Every bullet you fire in training might save a life in combat, but every shot you miss in combat might cost someone their family." The weight of responsibility settled over the young soldiers like a heavy blanket. "I can teach you precision. I can teach you wind reading. I can teach you breathing control and trigger discipline." She paused, her voice becoming even softer. "But I can't teach you how to live with the shots you didn't take when you should have, or the shots you did take when you shouldn't have." The general watched from a distance, as this legendary figure shared wisdom that couldn't be found in any training manual. "Why did you disappear?" he asked when the trainees had left. Raina was quiet for a long moment, cleaning her rifle with methodical precision. "Because I realized that being the best at killing people wasn't the same as being good at keeping them alive." "But your service record?" "My service record shows successful mission completions. It doesn't show the faces of people who died because I was 1 second too slow, or 1 degree off target." She set down the cleaning rod and looked directly at the general. "Every shot I made saved American lives, but every shot I made also meant someone else didn't go home to their family. Even if they deserved it, even if it was necessary, it still mattered. So you vanished. I finished what I was asked to do. Then I stepped away before I became something I couldn't live with." The general understood. Combat changes people. Some become harder, some become bitter. The rare ones, like Raina, become quietly determined to prevent others from experiencing what they've survived. And now you're here training recruits. Because maybe if I teach them to be better shots, they won't have to take as many. Maybe if they're more precise, conflicts end faster. Maybe if they understand the weight of what they're doing. She didn't finish the sentence. She didn't need to. The general nodded slowly. Stormmy always completed the mission. Raina Lowell teaches people how to complete missions without becoming ghosts. CTA Comment Act 3. If you've ever owed your safety to someone working silently in the background, type, "I'm grateful." After that day, Raina continued her role as a civilian technical instructor, but she was also quietly consulted on high-level tactical planning. Every morning, she arrived at the range before anyone else, methodically cleaning scopes and calibrating equipment. The young soldiers who had initially mocked her now approached with genuine respect, not because they learned she was famous, but because they witnessed her dedication to their success. One trainee left a note in the ammunition box. "I used to laugh at you. Now I understand. A person who hits their target doesn't need to make noise to prove it." Raina read the note but didn't respond. She simply made some final adjustments to a rifle scope and left behind a single bullet casing with an engraved message. "Nobody needs to see you succeed. They just need to see tomorrow because you did." Word spread quietly through the base, not gossip or rumors, but a growing understanding that someone special was among them. Soldiers began arriving early to watch her work, not to gawk or ask questions, but to learn from her methodical approach to precision. She never raised her voice during instruction, never demanded attention or respect, never told war stories or discussed her classified service. Instead, she taught through demonstration, perfect form, consistent results, quiet confidence that inspired others to reach higher standards. The shooting scores across the entire base improved dramatically, but more importantly, the soldiers developed a deeper appreciation for the responsibility that came with their weapons. "Every shot matters" became the unofficial motto of the training program. Take your time, hit your target, bring everyone home. Months later, when some of those trainees deployed overseas, they carried with them lessons that couldn't be measured in accuracy percentages or qualification scores. They carried the understanding that true strength comes from quiet competence, that the best soldiers aren't the loudest ones, that precision matters more than power, and that sometimes the person who seems most ordinary is actually the one who has sacrificed the most to keep everyone else safe. Raina never asked for recognition, never demanded her service be acknowledged. She just showed up every day, fixed what was broken, and made sure the next generation was better prepared than the last one. That's what heroes actually look like. Not the ones who make headlines or demand attention, the ones who work quietly, consistently, and effectively to make the world a little bit safer. CTA Comment Act 4. Type, "I'll live with purpose." If you believe the best people are often the quietest ones. Raina Lowell Stormmy never needed applause or recognition. She just needed to maintain accurate aim and ensure the next generation wouldn't lose people the way her generation did. She had disappeared once before because she didn't want anyone attaching her name to the people she couldn't save. But that day, when her first shot hit dead center and the general stood at attention, the entire base understood something profound. Sometimes, the most ordinary-looking person at the range is actually the one who once kept entire strategic maps from falling into enemy hands. Pay attention next time you meet someone who stays quiet. Maybe they don't need to speak up because they've already saved your life in ways you'll never know. The most dangerous people in the world don't announce themselves. They don't need to. Their actions speak louder than words ever could. And the best teachers aren't the ones who tell you what they've accomplished. They're the ones who quietly show you how to accomplish more than you thought possible. Look for the quiet ones. Learn from them. They usually know things the loud ones never figured out.